welcome to another episode of The Blue Sofa. So today I have a special guest for you. I want to introduce you to Carla. Carla is the one and only if you want to learn how to grow your Instagram. And she's also a fellow female entrepreneur that I personally just enjoy hanging out with and enjoy being around because of her amazing energy and also her wisdom. So I hope you will welcome her in today's episode and just enjoy all the soulful secrets that she's spilling, and also a very candid, wholesome, and inspirational conversation. Enjoy. What do you do?
Yes. So my name is Carla Biesinger. I am an online course creator. I've been doing this for 8 years by now, which is kind of crazy. And the main thing that I teach is Instagram. So how to grow your audience on Instagram, how to use it to build relationships, and how to attract ideal clients. And then on the back end, I teach some other things like email marketing, how to create online courses, etc. But I'm kind of become known for being an Instagram girl.
And the best one, if anyone needs a course, yeah, amazing. And what made you go in that direction? Because I know it's not exactly where you started, right?
Yeah, so my first business was actually a restaurant that I had in Argentina together with my boyfriend at the time. And when we broke up and when I left, I took a job briefly for about 5 months and very quickly realized that I didn't like working for someone else. And so I started thinking about what kind of business I wanted to create and started taking online courses to learn how to sell stuff online, because my experience with the restaurant, I knew that having a business in one location and having a big team and all those things wasn't really something that I wanted, because I really always desired to have this kind of freedom lifestyle. And so I started taking all these online courses, had a few different ideas of what I wanted to create. And eventually I kind of thought to myself, maybe I could create an online course. It doesn't seem to be that difficult. You just, create a webinar and then people just buy your course. And so I initially thought I wanted to create a course teaching all different social media platforms. Twitter, at the time, it was Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. Thank God I didn't do that, because already teaching one platform and keeping up with one is a lot. And so over 6 months, while I was creating this course and building my audience and learning about these different platforms, my Instagram account kind of took off and I grew to over 10,000 followers in 6 months. And people started asking me how I was doing that. And I just kind of realized that a lot of people were interested in Instagram more than in other platforms. And so I actually had almost finished that first course. It was called 15 Minutes to Social. And then realized, actually, I think I'm just going to go for Instagram. Mm-hmm. And basically just took that one part from that course that I did launch it eventually, the other one, but I'm not selling it actively. And I just went ahead with Instagram. And then my account kept growing and it just kind of felt like people want this. And I just kind of kept going with it.
Oh, amazing. That is so funny, because I learned about you through a friend, and she followed you because, how did she put it? She was like, she has a lot of nice food. I think you had great recommendations for food and travel and stuff like that. And she was like, take a look at her. She has nice food.
I didn't know that. That's so funny.
It's funny, right?
That would have been a long time ago, because initially, because I had the background with the restaurant, I was actually targeting food entrepreneurs. So I was working a lot with food bloggers, food photographers, chefs, etc. So my whole feed was all about food, because in deep down, I just am a huge foodie. And I was like, if I could just look at pictures of food all day, that would be amazing.
And my friend, it's her husband and my husband are friends, and we are friends. So we we travel the world just to eat. So she was
my
like, "Oh, you need to. There's like a lot of food on that account." So
That's
that was actually
amazing.
how I met you. Isn't that funny?
I had no idea.
No, it's so funny. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. And eventually she was like, and she also has this Instagram course, and I'm like, oh, interesting. Yeah. But I love how that passion just kind of, it's so magnetic,
Yeah.
that passion kind of drew us together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's so
That's
funny.
awesome.
Yeah, and how would you say if you were to define your mission today, how would you define that?
Yeah, I think this kind of evolved because in the beginning, my mission was just I don't want to ever go back to Germany, so I just need to make some money somehow. And then as my business grew, I started to realize so when I was in the relationship where we had the restaurant together, it was essentially his business. And after 5 years when we broke up, he kept the business and I kind of had to start over again. And I felt that it was so difficult for me, and I really regretted being so financially dependent on a man, and kind of swore to myself that I would never get into a situation like that again. And as I was building my business, and as I had women reach out who said they wanted to take my course, they had to speak to their husband, or like them buying the course maybe on their husband's credit card, their husband going mental at them, then them asking for a refund. I was like, oh my God, like there's so many women out there who are not financially independent.
I love that.
And that's really my mission. Like, first of all, I think you're the creator of your own life. And so if you have a passion and you want to do something that's different and you want to start your own business and create something, I will always be the number one cheerleader for people just doing their own thing. But then the next thing is, okay, you also want to, I mean, maybe not for everyone, but if you want to create that business to also have financial independence and experience more time and more wealth, that's really my mission behind it.
Yeah, I love that. And I can confirm for you being like the best cheerleader of any female entrepreneur because I've seen you in real life doing that. So that's really an amazing mission and fully embodied also. And I know that you have, I think like most people, like you've been in business for 8 years, and I think I've been in business for a little more than 10 years. And I think if you talk to anybody who's been in business for like several years, they will have a story about how they built something and how they had to change it up
Yeah.
to fit their life or to fit a mission or to fit like, or just because they felt it's kind of out of alignment in some capacity. And I know you have a similar story, and I would love to hear about that.
Yeah. So as a course creator slash, I have offered coaching as well along with my courses, and you're in that coaching bubble, I'm going to call it. I feel like there's a lot of pressure to achieve certain things. So, you're seeing
Definitely.
other business owners online who talk about how much money they make, and you kind of feel like, or at least I felt that, okay, I have to hit 6 figures. That's like my first kind of benchmark of being successful. There's like the idea of having a 6-figure launch, which, by the way, I've never had. Because I don't like launching. And it's just, I don't like it, yeah. And then, once you hit 6 figures, then your next goal should be to hit 7 figures. And so while I was on that kind of track and I was hitting these goals, I realized like, okay, I was just always chasing more. And I'm not someone who leads a lot with money. I think, it can be very inspiring to hear other women talk about how much they make, but it's just not my way of marketing. So eventually I had this realization where I was like, okay, I'm like pushing myself so hard, and I've had burnout, a couple of times throughout these 8 years because of this external pressure to like make a certain amount. And at the end of the day, I was like, okay, first of all, I never talk about how much money I make. And I really feel like no one really cares because people are just really thinking about their own goals, right? So they don't really care if I made 6 figures or 7 figures or however many figures. And the other realization I had was much more personal when I was on holidays with my family. And I realized, I had this conversation with my dad, and I realized, like, wow, actually everything I've been doing was just to make my dad proud.
Wow.
And even though I've made multiple 7 figures, my dad still thinks I'm not financially savvy.
That is so funny. No, but what a great realization. First of all, to have that conversation or have that realization with yourself. But also, I just find it so interesting how we can like value our own performance based on what we think other people think about us. And then when we actually confront it or dive into it, we realize they will always think a certain thing, or there was a certain way about us, no matter what we do or how we do it.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting. And what changed for you after that?
So this actually all happened last year when I was going through a bit of a rocky time with my business, because I was just, for between 2020 and 2023, like beginning of 2023, my business just kind of kept growing exponentially. And then at the beginning of last year, the ad agency I was working with, there was a shift. My ads just stopped performing. And so after that holiday with my dad, when I had that talk and my ads weren't going well, I was just like, you know what, I think I'm just going to shut it all down. And I turned off my ads and I turned off my funnel. And I basically just had this moment of maybe I just want to get a job because I'm so lonely, just working from home all the time, being on my own. And I started dating someone who has a job. And I was so like jealous in a way of the friends he had at work and just this idea of going to work and having like coffee breaks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And basically, yeah, had a huge phase of re-evaluating what I wanted to do and if I wanted to keep going. And, I had payment plans coming in. So for a couple of months, I was actually pretty fine because I still had all that money coming in. But then at some point, the money stopped coming in. And I was like, oh, it was actually quite nice having that money come in from my funnel. So maybe I should turn the funnel back on, but I'm going to go into this with a very different mindset. And so I actually looked at, the revenue goal that I had before. And I looked at how much profit I was making, which is at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? Because like if you're not even leading with how much revenue you're making, like who cares? So at the beginning of this year, I set myself a profit goal, which I can share it. It was 150,000 euros because I figured that is kind of the amount of money I need to make to just have, like, continue to have my lifestyle, to be able to put money aside and to just be fine. Like anything more, okay, would be great. Less than that, I could live off less, but that was just my goal. And I set myself the goal to make that amount in the first quarter of this year, because I wanted to stop getting so anxious and feeling so anxious whenever times weren't going, so like things weren't going so well, especially with the ads. And just, throughout the year, you just like keep pushing. And then you come to the end of the year and you're like, oh my God, I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. And I was like, okay, I know January, February are typically the best months for me with ads. And then it kind of tends to dip. And that's when then my anxiety takes over and I have sleepless nights and stress out about the ads and stuff. And so I actually hit that goal by the end of Q1. And then I thought, okay, everything else I do for the rest of the year is just a bonus. And it kind of already goes towards what I want to earn next year. And it just was a massive shift, this like shift from chasing revenue to like really evaluating and thinking about how much money realistically do I want to be making. Sure, there is like the minimum baseline, right? Where you're like, okay, if I don't make this, I'll like have to get a job because at the end of the day, we need to have money coming in to pay the bills. But like, what is kind of the amount that would feel really good to me without kind of chasing these numbers just because that's what other people are doing. And it was so freeing.
I love that. I love that. And I feel there's so much, it can almost be toxic. It can be a toxic environment to be in when you like have to perform all the time to be successful instead of just like you did. I think it's so inspiring. Just go back to yourself and be like, well, I get to define this. I get to define what is success for me. What does it look like? And how much money is just like a byproduct of that, right? But I really think that's and something completely different. But I feel it's a trend. Maybe not even a trend, but I feel like a lot of people are waking up and say, okay, building a business should not necessarily be about how much money can I make, but more like how can I support my family, support my lifestyle, and actually turn this contribution of mine into something that makes a real difference for other people.
Yeah, it was big.
And how do you, if you were to describe your life, like you talked about sleepless night anxieties and stuff like that, if you were to describe your life before this shift and now, how would you describe that?
Yeah, I mean, I always say, ask when people ask me, how are you doing? Like people that I haven't seen in a while, you know, when you're catching up and they ask like, how is business? I'm always like, well, it depends on how the ads are going. So if the ads are going well, I'm doing good. And if the ads are not going well, I'm probably pretty stressed. And this year, I mean, there was definitely months where it was going well, and there were some months where it was going not so well. But because I had this kind of reframe, I felt much more peace and calmness this year. And definitely the years before, I mean, it was just such a roller coaster. I also think because with the restaurant, it was always like whenever things were going well, something bad would happen. And we never got to a place where we were really thriving. Like we were always kind of surviving. And even in my first few years in this business, it felt like such a struggle. So I was actually so stuck in this like mindset or just like reality of just never getting like really good. And whenever it would get really good, something bad would happen. And so for years, actually, even once I started to do really well, I always thought something bad is going to happen. And so anytime the ads would be like a little bit rocky, I would be like completely stressed out. And then last year when I actually, you know, the worst thing happened and I turned off my funnel and then eventually restarted, I was like, oh my God, literally the worst case scenario happened. And then I did it again and everything, like I just did it again, you know, and it's kind of this, that was a huge moment, I think, for me to realize like, yeah, you like things are not always going to be great and bad things will happen, whatever they look like, you know, it could be team related or ads related or like whatever related, but you always like, if you have the resilience, you just get up and try again.
Yeah. And did you work, like consciously work with that? Was that like one of your realizations or?
So these fears of something bad happening, that definitely was something that has come up in, you know, coaching conversations or even conversations with friends. Even, yeah, there was a big shift this year where I was in a coaching call and we were talking about quantum leaps, right? Making moves that allow you to go from, like, let's just put it in numbers, 10 to 100 instead of going from 10 to 20 to 30 to 40, blah, blah, blah. And they asked me what would be a quantum move I would make if I knew that it was going to work. And so I said, well, so what I kind of feel like I should do is build another product and build that funnel in case my Instagram funnel stops working. But what I actually feel like would be the quantum move would just be to double my ads.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was actually a huge realization. And since then, I've kind of killed product after product and have just continued to optimize and increase my ad spend. And I suddenly have more time because I'm not doing 100 million offers. And I actually have more income because I'm going like all in on the thing that's working instead of kind of living like influenced by the fear and doing all these other things.
So for you, like creating, we both know, like we create courses. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's like creating a course is one thing, like marketing it,
Yeah.
like validating it is one thing, scaling it's like completely different game. So what I hear you say is you wanting to add more complexity to your business was like the first, actually like a first signal of the trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you've got to be prepared. It's so funny because people were always like, oh, are you going to be on TikTok? Are you going to create a TikTok course? Like, that's what you should be doing. I was like, oh my God, I don't think I want to be on TikTok. And they're like, well, what if Instagram, like, is not going to be popular anymore? And now, like, TikTok is getting banned in the US. I'm just like, oh my God, thank God I didn't create that course.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, you're influenced by what other people say as well. That's something that I think I never really realized, but some friends have told me that friends come to me to share about their business ideas because I guess they know that I will say go for it. And I've realized that this year that often they go to people who don't get it and then feel like they're going to talk them out of it because people just live by
That
fear.
is so true. I sometimes get clients that says like, oh my supporting's or my husband or family is not supporting me. They say I shouldn't do it, and I'm like, of course they do. It's super scared, and when you go and ask them, you just match that level of scared in you, you know.
Yeah.
So ask somebody else, ask somebody who did it, you know. Yeah, but
Yeah.
we do that all the time, I think, with different things, just to validate that the fear that we're having is real and we really shouldn't dive
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you use all that time for now?
So I recently started pottery classes.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
it's so
Yeah, I
fun.
saw that actually on Instagram. It looked so nice.
I realized that I really enjoy creating art. I've taken some online courses on like abstract paintings. I just took another one. I haven't actually started yet. But I did an art therapy program with a friend, which was really cool. And I'm into crypto.
Oh, you are? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah.
And I've been doing crypto since 2020. And recently have decided I think I want to get more into it in the next year because there's some opportunity. And I just bought a crypto course. And decided that because I think for a long time I felt that making money with crypto wasn't money that was earned in the way that when you work hard on your business. So I think I was kind of held back by that because I think that's, yeah. And I'm like, you know what? Like actually learning about this stuff and investing time and, you know, risking things, it actually is very well deserved and earned. So I'm going to make more time for it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't have taken you for someone who traded crypto, but I can see the excitement and the fun in it. Like going to a casino without having to go to a casino, having to dress up and all that stuff we don't want to.
Yeah. So those, and then I love, I have a gym nearby that does kind of group classes. So I love going there, just also meeting friends, you know, just, it's amazing how easily you can fill the day. And obviously I don't have kids, so there's like all that extra time as well. So it's just been nice to actually purposefully fill my days instead of, I notice sometimes when I don't have much going on, I don't also actually do that much, and I just kind of procrastinate and, hang out on Instagram. And that often
Like
doesn't feel
everybody
good.
And then I actually think you are the only Instagram expert slash coach I know just takes a month off Instagram. Can you tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've done it. So I think 2 years ago, I just deleted Instagram from my phone for an entire month because I just felt like, I don't even remember why I did it. I just felt like I think I was always feeling the pressure to respond to people. And I just set up this auto reply saying, I'm taking a break for my mental health. If you're a client, this is where you can find me. If you have questions, you can message, like email us. And I got actually such a positive response on that. I put up a post. I was like, I don't know, I've posted X thousand of Instagram posts and I need a break. And then I just deleted it. I didn't even check. And it was like so well received. It was actually amazing. And then I usually do one big trip per year. The last 2 years I've spent a month in Asia. And I just kind of allow myself to not post. And I sometimes share on stories if I feel like it. But yeah, that's been really cool to also realize, people don't unfollow you. Most people probably actually don't even notice. And the algorithm doesn't punish you. So
Yeah.
it's totally okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it doing that all the time if you're wanting to use it as a business tool. But I think having some boundaries and having some offline time is really important. Like I often don't go on Instagram on the weekend. And yeah, not feeling that pressure that you always have to be on and you always have to reply. And if you don't post your post, you're going to lose all your followers. And, yeah. I recommend doing it as a just mental experiment.
Yeah, but also, I mean, on Instagram and any social media, we can be way too accessible and way too feel, the obligation to answer whenever our clients or followers are asking us something.
Yeah.
And it does disturb the peace. I think we can get like a lot of experts to confirm how it's really not good for our mental health to be available all the time. So when I have been diving into the whole process of using Instagram to grow my business, what I have heard anybody else except you say is like, gotta post every day, sometimes 3 times a day. And I mean, be on, answer every comment within an hour and
Oh my God.
every DM and all that stuff. And I think it just scares a lot of people away because they know themselves and they're like, if I have to be that available, it's going to harm my mental health, basically. It's going to harm my nervous system. My nervous system can't take being that available all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and this was actually also part of an experiment for me this year because I think I am a kind of inbox zero type of person. And obviously I'm actually just reading the book 4,000 Weeks. I just started it, but it's really cool. It's about how we basically have 4,000 weeks on average in our lifetime. And how over time we've just, now we have all these productivity tools and all these things to like do more and like actually free up more time. But in that free time, we just end up doing more. And I'll definitely recommend it if you're thinking about having more time.
Yeah.
And because what happens when you reply to people immediately, they just reply back, right? And then it like never stops. So it was a huge experiment for me to see, okay, what happens if I just don't reply for a few days? and nothing happened,
No.
except that I have more peace and more time.
No.
So something that I haven't quite managed to do yet, but I keep like playing around with it, is actually only being online. So like on Instagram or even on email certain days of the week. And then just not being on it on other days.
Yeah, that could also be a framework. Like we don't answer emails in the weekends. And it's first of all, for me, it's like a statement. It's like everybody in my team, we are off in the weekends unless we choose not to be. But it's like an intentional choice. So there will be no answers in the weekends. And I think it's also about, for me, it's also about being a role model and teaching my clients that you don't have to be in the trenches all the time.
Yeah.
But it's definitely also to do less, like get into that grounding, get into the body, be more present, and I think it's kind of the same what you're saying. Figure out what is the routine or what is the structure that I want to be available for, so I don't wear myself down.
Yeah. And I think this is something I love about you so much. The fact that, you know, you have 4 kids, you have a husband, you have a house, like, and you have a business that's very successful, but you have a lot of boundaries around your time.
Yes, a lot. Like,
That's so awesome.
yeah, a lot. Yeah, it is, but it's I remember when I started my business in 12, actually. I went on, it's more like an education in feminine leadership, actually, or just feminine energy. So I started my business in that whole space of pleasure and presence and intuition and like being really in flow with your body and your sensuality and all that good stuff. I'm so grateful for starting there because it really taught me really, really fast that if I don't set boundaries around my energy and my time, that feminine softness is just gonna go away because business is very masculine. And I learned, like, then I'm leaning into my drive and I'm leaning into my, let's get shit done kind of mode. This is amazing, amazing. But as one of my friends, he says, like, the masculine energy is like a hunter. You get up, you go out, you shoot the deer, you get back. That's it. And I love that way of telling it. And then she's like, the feminine energy is way more like soft and present. But you can't do that on social media. Like, you will get eaten alive,
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. It's not something that I think people understand until later on.
No, and that's why I love this conversation. I love this conversation because it is like real life evidence that boundaries are amazing and necessary. That you need to take your mental health really, really serious. And also, I think what you represent is someone who has the courage to be real to yourself and honest. And
Yeah. I have a lot of coaches in my circle, so I feel like that helps. Or at least you can't escape from all the awareness that.
True. But I mean, like, the past 2 years, I think for a lot of people, and it's not just you, but a lot of people have had like 2023 or 2024 been like crazy years. And I don't know if it's too early, but can you say something about what you learned? What is like the learning points from the last couple of years for you?
I think it was interesting because I've had a few friends who quit their business in 2023 or the beginning of this year. And I obviously was also in this space, like really considering doing something, like taking a job. And I'm like, oh my God, I never had a job. I don't, like, I actually never had a corporate job. I don't even know what I would do. So, but then having that realization of, it's literally just you against you, right? And obviously there are reasons for why some of these friends quit their businesses that are more complex than just like, oh, I can't be bothered anymore. But at the end of the day, I think so much of business and being successful is just, keep going and try again and like get the support you need. Really invest in yourself. I've been doing a lot of investing this year in more personal development. And now I'm doing investments in like learning about finance, crypto, but also other, I learned about investing in the stock market and all of these other things this year. And for a while I felt like, oh, I actually feel like I'm pretty evolved. But then once you start again, you realize that there's so many other things. And, it's always with them. If you're solving something in one area of your life, it then has effect on other areas of your life as well. So I really think investing in yourself, whether it comes to coaching or, just learning, but also this is something that I really only recently started doing, is just investing in myself in the fact of just doing something nice for myself. So I just started doing like facials. I've been going once a week, and that just feels like the biggest gift to myself, like having that time and spending that money on my face. It's so incredible. Like it feels so nourishing. And that was something that would always be on kind of the lowest priority list. Like actually, like, I can do self-care, journal and meditate. Like all of these things are great, but I never felt like I would actually spend money on me.
And also what I feel you do really well is doing things that you find just to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just like, okay, what could be fun?
Yeah.
Like, let's go out, let's let's travel somewhere, right? Let's just, and also I think what I found is also being able to take your needs serious. Like I need more social activity in my life. I need more travel. I need more. I need to. I feel this urge to understand crypto.
Yeah, because otherwise we just work for the business. We create the business because we want to have freedom, and we don't want to have, we don't want to do the 9 to 5. And then I love this so much, like, employees work a 9 to 5 and entrepreneurs work 24/7. It's like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Like, then I'm just constantly thinking about my business, and I'm stressed about the business, and I'm not where I want to be. And like my life just becomes all about the business. Like, that was not the idea. The idea was to build the business around my lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And we forget about that because we're so caught up in the trauma of being a high performer, right?
Yeah.
And the trauma of needing to exceed all expectations and be the best to prove something to someone, right?
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then suddenly we lost,
Yeah.
why am I even doing this, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I always looked at people like Amy Porterfield when I started out. And I was always like, oh my God, I can't imagine selling the same thing like 10 years later. And it's been 8 years and I'm still selling the same thing. And I still love it, Like, my business has shifted so much over the last 8 years. And there was a time where I just really didn't want to be known as the Instagram girl because I thought it wasn't good enough. Like, I had to be a coach and I have to help people in a bigger way. And I'm like, actually, I love it. It's so fun. It's always changing. So I always get to like try different things. And I've had so many clients whose lives, like mine, have completely changed because of Instagram. It's
Exactly.
amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. No, it really, really is. But I think the humbleness that you get into, or that is awakened within you whenever you face something really difficult,
Yeah,
is just keeps you so real, right?
totally. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And instead of just like ignoring it or keep on just going and going and going, I think it's so amazing that you just took time to reflect. Like 2 months off, or however long it was, must have made such a difference.
Yeah. I think it's a good idea for anyone who's struggling, to take some time off and to, like whatever, put a time limit on it. Take a weekend, take a week, take a month, like do something, be in nature and just really get out of your bubble and reevaluate and then kind of come back. I think it's
Yeah,
healthy.
yeah. I totally agree. I totally agree. And I don't think you can feel any direction when you are in the yeah, we can call it
Yeah.
trauma response, but when you are in like the whole I have to, I have to, I have to, I have to, I don't think, or I know that there will not get, the guidance is just not gonna come.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you feel about, you created like a change from within because you chose to do that? What do you get excited about by of the future? Like, what do you plan on going forward?
So that's a good question. I've never had kind of 5-year goals or 10-year goals. I kind of plan my life in 3 months, 3 months ahead. There's obviously still things I'm doing for my financial future, right? Because I've never had a job, so I don't have a retirement fund. So I'm building that now. With my business, I just right now I'm in this phase of just simplify, keep doing what you're doing. I can see how we can grow a little bit more, but I actually don't have the desire to have a huge team or to scale to a point where it again becomes like this, you're chasing something. So if next year is as good as this year, I'll be super happy. And I actually have some things that I'm exploring. I feel I don't, choose not to have children myself, but I actually love children. And I've done things like volunteer, teach English to children in Thailand. And I actually feel like a huge desire to do something with children. But I'm still exploring that.
Oh,
So
amazing.
potentially here in Lisbon or potentially somewhere else. But
Yeah.
yeah, I can see how that could be something that I do on the side that is just, not related to anything else that I do.
Yeah. But just like before, we have to stop, unfortunately. Um, do you want to share where we can find you?
Sure. The best place is Instagram
Obviously.
at Carla Biesinger. I am on there most days and I do respond to all of the DMs myself. So that's definitely, I always love hearing when someone heard me on, like, and just say, I heard you on Mia's podcast or, shared something about, like a takeaway. I love that. So that would be the best place.
Perfect. That's easy. And as you know, this is the blue sofa, and we're sharing secrets here. Do you want to share like a soulful secret before we end?
So one secret, yeah, I guess I haven't really shared this, but so my boyfriend has 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and it's been really cool to see, like, first of all, I love hanging out with them, but then also to see like how, especially with the girl, it's like me just embodying what I do and just being who I am and sharing certain things with her, it can have an impact on her. And
Oh,
just being like really mindful of like what are some of the values I have and how can I like share those to I yeah, I don't know what the word is, but just be like a role model.
yeah. I
That's
love
been really
that.
cool.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed this episode just as much as I enjoyed recording it. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about Carla, I would definitely recommend going to her Instagram. I mean, she has so many amazing resources just on her Instagram. I'm going to link Carla's Instagram below. And also, if you get the opportunity, do listen to her masterclass. It's a masterclass on how to grow your business on Instagram. And it's honestly one of the best masterclasses that you can invest your time in. If so, you find the masterclass amazing, I will also recommend go and grab her Instagram course. It's an amazing Instagram course and it's very helpful no matter if you're just starting out on Instagram or you're just looking for simplified tools to actually grow your Instagram. So with that said, thank you so much for listening and enjoy your day.